Gazzy Amin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Got a very small introduction. So you're someone who's built a brand on honesty, softness, and you show the truth behind entrepreneurship through Instagram mainly. And you're known by many online as Authentic Gazzy, right? And you walked away from the comfort and camaraderie of corporate life, in this case politics, to build something of your own. And it's been a while now, but it wasn't always glamorous, was it? And
No.
that's exactly what we'll get into. In politics, everything is about control, right? But in entrepreneurship, it's illusion and delusion to an extent. And that shift from external validation to sort of this internal conviction that you require is one of the hardest transitions I've felt, right? And you came from one of the most structured worlds, which is politics, into one of the most chaotic things you could ever do, entrepreneurship. Walk me through that process. Why did you choose that?
The easy answer is burnout.
Oh,
There's, of course, more story to that, but I loved politics while I was there. I spent 7 years working in the highest levels of campaigns to elect premiers, prime ministers. I was working on those teams and I was building those teams and winning those campaigns. And so it was really good when it was good. But I knew deep down inside, and it's hard to explain really in words, but I knew that I wasn't going to do that forever. And I just was looking for that next thing. And I started to feel that through burnout. When I started getting really tired and my body was just like, this is too much. That's when I started getting serious about like, what am I going to do? Because it's not going to be this anymore. So it was a chaotic journey. I don't think I had a clear idea of exactly what I would do when I decided I would leave. And it was an iteration of a few months and years of learning before I really found out who Authentic Gazzy is and even what my identity was outside of politics. I didn't really know that. So the journey was having to learn that, burnout, taking care of myself, and learning, who am I? What do I want to create? Because I went into politics because it's what my parents told me to do. They thought it would be a good idea for me.
Okay.
I had no idea. I just knew I wasn't good at math. I wasn't good at science. So when it came down what to pick in university, I just studied political science. And I volunteered and I worked up the corporate ladder super quickly. I was 21 working in the highest levels of politics, Canadian politics. But by 24, I was like burnt out. So leaving that, it was like, well, who am I? Because my whole career, let's say in the early 20s, was just politics. So it took a few, it's been 5 years for me in entrepreneurship now. I don't think I knew in that very moment. Maybe your story is different because I think you knew you were going to do the podcast. I just knew I got to get out of here and I didn't know what it would look like. And 5 years later, and we're still figuring it out.
No, same with me. Like, I didn't know about the podcast until, I went into corporate and I was like, okay, I knew day one, I have to learn, I have to pay my dues,
Yes.
but figure out what that thing is. And it took me almost 2 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I was always like, okay, I want to get out, but I don't know how.
Yes.
So this idea of like when you, I can imagine in corporate, in politics, you would have been like, okay, I want to leave, but I don't know what this is going to be. Or what this is going to look like. And you're burning out at the same time. And you have to somehow find this energy, to just get through the days, to do work that you don't want to do in order to just, I guess, pay bills or whatever, because you're contractually obligated. But at the same time, you're just beating yourself up, not understanding what is it that you want to exit through.
Yeah. I think also one of the big challenges going out of politics was because it's not a very clear role and you wear multiple hats, it's not as easy as, for example, saying, okay, I was an engineer in this company and now I'm just going to become an independent engineer and consult for startups, for example. That's an easy transition. But after 7 years of working in so many different campaigns and political departments and tour teams and media teams and running campaigns and ads, I almost didn't know exactly what that translated out into the real world. It took me a few months to be like, what am I good at? I didn't actually know that. And a lot of people, like when we leave this corporate space, there is a period of getting clear of what am I really good at before moving into entrepreneurship. Some of us we know, but some of us, again, we're just so programmed into a way of thinking about a job. When it comes to creating a business, we have to understand and use ourselves differently. And so that self-explorative journey after politics helped me figure out what that next chapter looked like. But it wasn't an easy, like people ask me, did you always know you were meant to do this? And I'm like, not really, if I'm being honest about it. And I like to be honest about it so people don't think it's like, oh, because I don't have this $1 million idea, that's why I'm not leaving. I didn't have that either. Like, I just knew I believe in myself and I can help people in a bigger way. Go figure it out. But I think I'm still learning it now, even up until this day. Like, what is that thing? Again, it's not as easy as when you're in a job and there is a job title.
I'm a business analyst.
Exactly.
I'm a consultant.
There's so much more to it.
Here are your responsibilities.
That's it.
Okay,
I wish somebody could just give that to us, but it doesn't really exist, right? Because this is a make as you go sort of an industry.
Yeah. So when you left then, there would have been a phase of like, did you take a break?
I took a break, yeah.
Okay. What did you do in that break?
A few
Besides
things.
like self-development?
Yes,
was
I dropped out of my master's program.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that to give myself space to think about it because I realized, why am I studying public policy if I'm not
going to do it anymore?
Going to go into public policy? And so that was no longer aligned. I dropped out of that program. And that was a big decision because I had a scholarship. My parents were super proud of me. And like, my parents are from Iran. This is like, you either go to school and you become an academic or you're a failure. And so that was a really tough pill for all of us to swallow. And then I decided I would travel a bit. I traveled through South America and just explored myself and life. I became a yoga teacher. I studied 300 hours of Thai massage and learned.
Thai massage?
Yeah.
Like, why?
I really believe in touch and the power of human body. And because I was in so much pain and burnout working in politics,
Physical pain?
Yeah, I had so much pain in my hips and tension in my neck and shoulder from years of like chronic stress working in a high pace environment. And I didn't realize it when you're there. It's when you stop that the burnout kicks in. So towards the end, I felt it too. My body was really exhausted. And so it inspired me to learn more about my body and take care of myself. I used to work mostly on the road with politicians. And so sometimes like hours on the road, eating things like A&W and Tim Hortons, being in a car for most of the day or texting on a phone, responding with 2 phones to emails. All of that stuff really did damage to my body and my nervous system. And so when I left, there was this little bit of curiosity to learn more about the body, but I also knew I wouldn't do those things for careers. But it was the first time where I was like, fuck, like I'm just going to let myself explore a little bit, Like I've worked my entire I started working when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't give myself any time to explore sports, hobbies, what I love, none of that. So when I left politics, I gave myself permission to just like, now they have the saying like fuck around and find out. At the time, it was like, I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, like just fuck around
and find out.
Fuck around and find out. So I literally did that.
That's what I'm doing now.
I gave myself the freedom to figure it out. But it wasn't even from the business sense. It was just like learn about myself a little bit.
With your travels though, I went to, do you know Chris Williamson?
No.
So Chris Williamson, he's like he's also a podcaster, has his own podcast, and like, Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like kind of in that realm, but this is more towards self-development and self-improvement space. Yeah. He was he was on, Love Island?
Yeah, of course.
So he was on Love Island season 1 in the UK. So like the OG Love Island. And then
I would have probably watched that season if I'm being
there
honest.
You go. Yeah. So he basically was in Love Island, and then in his 20s, he had 2 degrees.
Okay.
Did club promoting.
Okay.
Entire 2 of his 20s. Had a management company which did that. And then at 29 or something, he's like, okay, I'm going to do podcasting now. 7 years later, close to 4 million subscribers now on YouTube. He does live shows now. Or I guess the one he's doing now is probably going to be his last. But
Cool.
now he's 37. So I actually went to one of his live shows.
Incredible.
And over there, one of the most fascinating questions a 22-year-old asked him was, hey, I'm 22 and I'm just graduating. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling very anxious, nervous. So this is all pertinent to people who are just graduating or
Correct.
taking that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And Chris just and he was like, what advice do you have for me? And like, how should I tackle this space of mind? And Chris just goes like, how old are you? And he goes, I'm 22. And he's like, fuck, you're 22
time.
And you're thinking about these things already. How do I manage these feelings and stuff? And he said, one of the best things to do is to travel.
Yeah.
And Chris himself traveled through, Southeast Asia alone, did his own stuff alone. South America, I think he said as well. And it's just like, it gives you that time to do your own thing.
Totally.
And to figure out. So I did that last year.
Beautiful.
A horrific phase through my corporate, at my corporate job. I was literally saying burnout. I was hyperventilating during some days. And there was one day I remember I was put on this project out of the blue. Shit was hitting the fan. I was told it was a new project and had no idea. Different team as well.
Yeah.
And I go in and I ask the manager, I'm like, hey, I just wrapped up. I heard you need help. How can I help? When's this thing starting?
Yeah.
Because what do you mean starting? We're in the fire right now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shoot. And it was bad. Like, Gazzy, it was horrific. Yeah. They were asking me to do things that would require, let's say, 6-7 resources and around 20 weeks. I had to do that on my own in 3 days. Just made no sense. Impossible. So it didn't necessarily happen. I tried my best. I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, that went on for a while. Yeah. And by the end of it, I remember one day opening my laptop, joining my stand up. Yeah. I was just blank. Yeah. Anything that was said to me did not digest, flew over my head, and I'm just like, huh, what's this? Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know what I was thinking.
Yeah, dysregulated nervous system. That's just the symptom of burnout, right?
And I was like,
yeah.
And then the manager was like, whoa, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then my performance manager from my team, like, I had a chat with him and he just goes, stop right now. Like, stop. You need to, like, get out of here for a bit.
Yeah.
And then this whole idea of, like, mental health that they talk about, like, we have these systems in place. I don't know how, it felt like a hoax to me. The reason I say that is you preach so much, but what I went through was you had to go through so many hurdles to get that mental health break approved, to the extent where it was evident from my opinion that they don't want you to take it because it looks bad on them.
Yeah, that's why it's harder.
It's so hard. And you have to get clearance from a third-party insurance company who has to go through your case to make sure, to basically give you the all green of, okay, no, you need help and you need some time off. I was like, what? So anyway, all of that happened. And when I got this doctor, I went, because you need a prescription. You need to prescribe that you need rest.
Yes.
This doctor, she was like, you were this close to getting a full-blown anxiety disorder for life. And I was like, holy.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought I'd get close to that point.
Yeah.
So she was such a legend. She's like, what'd you like to do? I'm like, and the first thing that popped in my mind was travel. I said, travel. She prescribed travel to me on the thing. And I was like,
that's
what?
a prescription I can get behind.
And then I went to Japan.
Yes.
2 weeks, Japan solo.
That's it.
Game changing.
That's it.
Game changing.
Yeah. Just 2 weeks, right?
Just 2 weeks, but just me.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God, Gazzy. It was phenomenal.
Yes.
And I can't encourage it enough to people.
Absolutely.
Like, go alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Go alone.
Yeah, that's right.
What did that travel to South America do to you?
Well, young women traveling with a backpack through South America, so much learning, especially after so many years being in a really set routine and environment of you wake up, you do the same thing, to be in an environment where it's shifting absolutely everything,
Yeah.
where you don't know anything, requires you to just become a new version of yourself, essentially. But I think if I really pull back, it's like, yes, that trip was game changer for me because it just showed me the world and it showed me there's different ways of doing it. And this one way of thinking where this is the only way for me to be successful isn't necessarily true.
Gotcha.
And I saw other entrepreneurs building things and Airbnb hosts and them buying real estate and renting it. And like that just opening my mind to I can think bigger than what I'm currently thinking. So that was my first experience. But I think for anyone who's even listening right now, we're talking about travel. I think travel is essential at every up leveling, I'm going to call it. At every or chapter, beginning of a chapter or end of a chapter, to retreat yourself and think and give yourself to be rather than be stuck in the do that we are in our normal spaces. So I think for myself, even last year, I took a 7-day retreat in Costa Rica before the beginning of the year. And I used that time as a CEO just to plan for myself and think about the projection of my company and the team and where I want to take our vision and our movement. That travel, again, 7 days, felt like 10 years of growth for me, for my husband. We had one-on-one time. We meditated. We traveled in the jungle together. Again, that travel also transformational. There's also been other times where, like you said, in a bad state of mind, where it's like, I got to get out of here, and travel just changes. And I think we can even talk about that traveling to a coffee shop. Like I saw you just take your sip of coffee. Changing your environment does so much for you. It allows you to think and be and explore in a different way. And so at any part of our journey, whether we're changing careers, getting a divorce, planning a business, maybe after giving birth, like first time going as a family, travel is an opportunity to get us out of our regular programmed way of being, which our mind loves routine and just thrives in knowing certain ways, and puts us into an environment where everything is new.
Yeah.
Food is new, language is new, temperature is new, ways of doing, driving on the side of the road is new. So much expansion in the mind and rest in the nervous system happens in this way, and also opens pathways for creativity. I mean, my best ideas come by the water.
Yeah.
Not when I'm stuck behind my desk with a Google Doc open saying, what's the strategy for the company?
Yeah.
It's when I'm surfing. It's when I'm traveling. It's when I'm in meditation in a different city where all of these ideas come to me. So that's the power of travel and new environments at any point of your journey. It just makes us learn so much about ourselves and makes us think in a bigger way about the world.
Is that something you see when you obviously train and speak to a lot of CEOs, right? At what point do you recommend travel to them?
I would recommend, because when we think travel, we're thinking, oh, it has to be like a flying getaway somewhere. That can happen. But even just this weekend, I drove 2 hours away to north of Barrie. That's a travel. So the benefits could still be there, but it is something I recommend to entrepreneurs that I work with, CEOs, leaders. You need to create space in your calendar where you can take yourself out of doing and go into being and thinking, being a visionary. So thinking about the future, because when we're stuck in our day-to-day, we're thinking as operators. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be thinking as visionaries. So taking these travels or even getaways, solo opportunities, even 3 hours at a park, these opportunities give us space to think in a different way. And as entrepreneurs, we need that for our mind. We need that clarity and that refocus, and travel and retreats and getaways give us that opportunity to do that.
And that's why like a small change of environment, I'm just thinking of like when you work at your home as an entrepreneur, right? A lot of times like you just become like, oh, I can't do it at home anymore. So go into a cafe. all of a sudden, I'm productive now.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the
That's
thing,
it.
but the scale can range a
That's
lot.
it. So maybe
Yeah.
today it's a coffee shop, maybe it's Japan. You take it as as you can and what you can afford in your calendar
Yeah.
to take for yourself. But you're right, it could be something as small as a coffee shop, a park, or as big as, 2 years ago, I gave myself 10 days to do a Vipassana experience. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
A what, sorry?
Vipassana.
Vipassana.
Yeah, it's a 10
Sounds
days
like
silent meditation.
sounds very Indian.
It is.
Vipassana.
Yes,
Like
yes, that's
Sanskrit or something.
of course,
Yeah.
it's from like
Okay.
Buddhist
Yeah.
concepts
Okay. Gotcha.
of just sitting in silence for 10 days. You don't speak, you don't make eye contact, you don't smile, you don't journal, you don't read, and
You just be.
you're observing sensation. And in a world where we have the attention span of like 3 seconds, it was such a big, so I gave myself that opportunity as a business owner to be like, the business will survive if I take 10 days to do this. And quite honestly, I've paid thousands of dollars for some of the top coaches to consult and people to give me advice on my business and hired them to do things. But those 10 days of doing nothing gave me so much business clarity and momentum. I just came out a whole new version of myself. So again, it could be as small as a coffee at a new coffee shop, or as big as dramatic as 10 days of no phone, no internet, no books. As CEOs or even humans, we have to create space for ourselves to have those moments.
Gotcha. When you recommend this to, let's say, CEOs, right?
Yeah.
Who are running their own companies, let's say they're fresh CEOs or like CEOs of companies, and they come to you and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to get, strategy from Gazzy or like whatever. And you're like, buddy, you just got to go travel, man. And what's their reactions what's the most common reaction you get when you recommend something like a travel, right? Like you just need to spend time with yourself, bro.
Yeah. Even with a question, like a client might ask me a question. And again, I want to give them the answer. And I have some ideas that can direct their way of thinking to go in the way that is going to be good for them, like control their thinking so they're not going down the wrong path. But I'm there to get them to also come to their own answers. Because if you pay me just to give you answers, I'm not really training you to think like a CEO. I'm just giving you the answers in this current moment. And so part of my coaching is helping founders and leaders and CEOs to think through that CEO mode or lens. And so I might ask one of my clients and it might piss them off when I'm like, let's not make a decision right now. Let's both sit on this. I want you to go for a walk. Write down your thoughts after the walk. And let's talk about this tomorrow at 3 p.m. again and see what awareness has landed since then. They're just like, just give me the answer, dude. Should we do this or not? But again, I'm training them to think like CEOs. And CEOs think in a certain way. They're decision makers. They're confident decision makers. They know how to make decisions. They know how to think logically, but also emotionally. Logically, but also trust their gut. And so I am working with my clients to think like CEOs rather than give them the answer. So sometimes my prescription is going to be, you need to take some time off to think about this, or the best decision is to not make a decision from this place. Let's come back to this after we've done some market research, some gut check-ins. And so it's not their favorite answer always, but after working with me for several months, they'll feel like, you know what? Gazzy really helped me become this version of myself that feels confident in these moments, that I know what to do and not like, I need to call Gazzy because she's my coach and without her, I can't do that. It really upsets me when I see in the industry that the coaches elude their clients' success to them. It's like, oh, they couldn't have done it without me. The power is is not in the coach, it's in the student. And their ability to come to their wins on their own and building confidence that I fucking did that. Not Gazzy's the best coach. That I freaking created that in the confidence they build for themselves. And that's what I'm trying to instill into people.
how do you deal with clients in this case who a lot of people see this as a transaction? They're putting their hard-earned money into you, right? Whatever that amount might be, whether that's 5K, 2K, 10K, whatever. And then for you to just tell them, let's say, hey, buddy, you need to go travel. Or like you need to take time with yourself. If I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
If I'm a client and I'm paying you 10K, okay? And you come back to me saying, you need to spend time with yourself, do your own thing. I'm like, I've kind of paid you a shit ton of money and you're telling me to spend more money and do my own thing to figure it out. Like, how do you deal with that when people, have you had those experiences? And second, if so, how do you deal with that? And how do you communicate this idea like, hey, I'm training you to be at that elite level?
I think I have enough results under my belt that my clients trust me. And when they work with me, we work with an agreement that we're here to try new things, because to go somewhere new, we have to try new things. So if we're going to the next level, we have to try new things. And what got us here won't always get us there. And so there's this open-mindedness when you work with a coach of, I trust them to help guide me. And sometimes that means doing different things. And I would also trust that from other people of like, if they gave me advice, even if it sounded, again, I'm paying for people who have experience that I don't. So if they're going to give advice to me, I'm taking that with an open mind and an open heart, and I'm open to trying things.
What's your ratio of saying yes to clients versus no to clients in terms of taking them on?
No, mostly.
No, mostly?
I only work with a handful of clients at a time at a high level, mostly. I do have group coaching programs where I'll open it up to, let's say, 20, 30 women for a set period of time.
Yeah.
But there's a number of clients that I work with over the year through longer term contracts. And I hold integrity. And for me, it's quality over quantity. It always has been. And so I rather work with 5 clients at a really high level and build a really great connection than to have, and for some people it's different. I've seen some coaches work with like, sometimes I've been 500, one of 500 on a coaching call with some people that I've paid to learn from as well. But for me at this level of my business, it's more a no than it is a yes. And if it's a yes, it has to be a fuck yes. Like it has to be a dream client for me to work with where I love what they're doing and we want to be a part of that. And we know together we would create something exceptional. So it has nothing to do with like transaction. Like, can they pay us? It's a yes. There's literally no links to buy anywhere from me online because it has to be an energetic. Yeah, it has to be authentic. We're working together. My clients have access to me to send me voice notes on WhatsApp. If I don't like you, I don't want to work with you. And I chose that after working in corporate for years with people that maybe I didn't like working with. And I'm like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur now. I get to choose who I work with. I'm not saying yes to everybody. We have to enjoy each other's company.
You are who you surround yourself with at the end of the day.
That's it. That's it. And do I want to finish my workday thinking like, I am drained from the people that I surround myself with or the clients that I'm serving because they're needy, they're calling. Like, I don't feel that. At the end of the day, I feel energized because the people I'm with pour energy into me, and how I pour energy into them fuels more energy for me. I mean, even just from this conversation, you could tell like that's important for me, the energy of our way of thinking, our environments, who we work with, because as entrepreneurs, like everything that happens in our life flows into the business. So if you don't like who you're working with, your business won't scale. No. If you love your team and the clients, suddenly more money and opportunities start to show up. So I'm really mindful of that when I'm saying yes to projects or clients or opportunities. Like, is it really an energetic alignment? And are we going to enjoy working together? Because if not, like, it's not worth it for me.
I think it's you touched on a very important thing there. It's when to say no and the importance of saying no. There's so many times where I think it's wild, right? Because when you're starting a business, a lot of times you want to say yes to everything.
Yes.
And you're like, just put yourself out there, see if it works, see if it doesn't work.
Yep.
At what point do you start saying no?
You're right. And I think at the beginning, you should say yes a lot. And I think there's some people that say no but they're too broke and too invisible to be saying no to opportunities. Like, if people don't know you and you haven't built a business, you should be saying yes to as many opportunities as you get at the beginning. You need those wins, you need the network, and you need conversations.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, yes. At the beginning, if somebody wanted to connect with me, I was available for a call. Right now, that's different for me. So you be honest with yourself. At what point can you afford to say no? And what opportunities are worth saying yes? And what opportunities are a clear no? And you're right. Even for me, 5 years into entrepreneurship, I'm still looking at scenarios and asking, should this be a no or should this be a yes? Like, what is the ROI for me if it's a yes? And energy and exposure and joy
The
and
intangibles.
monetary. Yeah. Like, is it worth it for me or no? And it's interesting because for me, at least, because I was a people pleaser, a lot of things I was saying yes to just because I didn't want to seem like a bitch, maybe. But at some point, it was like, I have to build this business. So now, I always share one of the things is like, I can't say when people DM me and ask, like, can I pick your brain? No, I have to say no to that because I value my time. And so now the value of my time is different than when it was when I started. So now, but you have to get to that place, right? Where you have a value to your time and you know what that value is. Because if I know, for example, that my value is X dollars an hour, and that's a good thing to know as an entrepreneur, like what is your hourly rate?
How do you define that?
I actually read a book from my coach. I used to work with Dan Martell. He has a book called Buy Back Your Time. In that book, he has a framework, the Buy Back Your Time framework, where you take the money that you made, divided by the amount of hours that you work, and that will give you a number. And whether that number is 100% accurate or not, you can use that to differentiate what you say yes or no to. For example, for me, it's as easy as like, if it's going to take me 4 hours to clean my house, you know what? It's not worth my time. I could delegate that. So cleaning my house is a no for me. And some days I love it. It's super therapeutic for me. I get a podcast in, I'm cleaning the house and it's my vibe. Like, that's it. But again, my point is when you know that time, what that hourly value is, then you know what to say yes and no to. And sometimes, again, as a former people pleaser, the hardest part is saying no and being okay with that's a no. Not every opportunity is a yes. But again, there's a lot of, at the beginning, say yes a lot, but then you have to start to see like what's worth it for you and what's not worth it for you as a business owner. So I don't fill my calendar with busy work. I fill my calendar with things that open opportunities and move the business forward. And so I'm really mindful of like, my calendar's not busy with a bunch of stuff. It's really, really mindful with a few things. So I have to, unfortunately, say no to a lot of things because I have to be mindful of that calendar. And sometimes, like, my mom gets upset when I don't get to go to that party that she wants me to go to on Sunday. And she's like, oh, well, is it not important to you? And it's like, it is important to me, but I also value like my reset time on Sundays. And so knowing the value of your time and like, is that going to drain my energy or give me energy? Then you can start to be more aware with what is worthy and what gives you energy and what drains energy and what is income producing and what is not income producing. And then you can use that to make better decisions as a CEO.
It's fascinating because the Buy Back Your Time book, I haven't read it, but I read an excerpt from it which spoke about this hourly, like what are you worth per hour? And that then it became like so recently I'm trying to work, I'm thinking, should I get an editor on board given I have a limited runway? I'm kind of going in that space now. And one of the hardest things for me is to understand, okay, at what point do I outsource?
Yep.
So then this whole hourly thing comes in. I'm like, okay. And as an entrepreneur, what you don't sign up for is that you have to be the jack of all trades. You just have to, no question. You have to be the strategist. You have to be the operations guy, logistics. In my case, writer, director,
Yes.
producer,
Yes.
editor, videographer. I do everything, right? So if you meet my team, exhibit
Hello.
A, and that's it. Hello.
Nice to
Right?
meet you.
Everyone does it, right? And there's so many skills you have to learn on the spot. And let's say I'm 7 months in, no, 9 months in.
Yep.
2 months full time.
Yep.
And you just, my challenge is now like, oh, at what point do I outsource? So one of the things I was thinking about was, but then resources become a question as well, right? Like how much runway do you have? At what point do you do? And things as an entrepreneur always seem expensive, given the resources you have. So now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay,
Is editing your zone of genius?
No.
Delegate.
What I do right now is, if you go through, so the podcast, the long form, I edit that myself.
Okay.
I do it on purpose.
Yeah, because you know the best bits.
The best bits, but also it gives me a very good idea of what the chat was about. Okay. Plus how my performance was.
Okay.
And then it gives me an idea, like, of what I could learn from the guest or the conversation.
Yep.
Then I'd watch it again once it's fully edited as well. Now, when you look at the short form content, the short form content game is a beast. Okay. If you look at my Instagram, go all the way down to where the reels are today, huge difference. But that's all me.
Yeah.
I learned everything by myself.
Yes.
I spent a weekend to do, okay, I'm going to learn Adobe Premiere Pro, and that's the only thing I'm going to use now and just level up. So recently I encountered this very kind gentleman who created a reel and sent it to me on Instagram from one of my podcasts. And I just look at it and I'm like, how did you do that?
Yes.
And I appreciated him doing it. So I was like, let me reach out. Let's see, maybe this is a sign.
Yes.
And then recently back and forth, we're like testing a few things and stuff. And like, I have this limited runway and now I might be moving. So everything seems chaotic in that sense. You're like, oh, okay, does it really make sense? But then at the same time, I'm seeing that value. And like, it's your intuition versus your heart and your mind. Right?
Yeah.
My heart's like, oh, but it's like, you're spending X amount of dollars. But in my mind, I'm like, buddy, but imagine what you could do when you buy back that time.
That's it.
And I'm just kind of going and I'm seeing already like some of the stuff he's producing, sending him, we're testing things. And I'm like, whoa, okay, like there's a difference here.
For sure.
There's a huge difference.
For sure.
At what point do you know when to outsource that besides the hourly rate? Because this is something, and when is it worth the risk?
I would say for you now, you should probably get this episode edited by somebody else. That's usually what I would tell my clients. Like, now is the best time. So yes, you're going to use your hourly rate that we talked about, your buyback, your time rate, to anchor in what is relative. So for example, I worked with a client. They have multiple floral boutiques in the city. And she makes well into 7 figures. And so when she did her hourly rate as a CEO and founder of multiple boutique locations, now a franchise in some of the biggest malls that we know, her hourly rate is like, I think it was in the 2000s. And then she was telling me that she's doing, she stuck responding to emails and to-do tasks and inventory. And that for me is something that you could get somebody to do for anywhere between, like, let's say $20 to $50 an hour. So $2,000 an hour versus 50. Like, come on, you don't have to have studied math or economics or like any business thing to know. Well, okay, it clearly makes sense for that to be delegated, but also it's not just the price. Think about when you delegate something, how much time and mental real estate you gain back to focus on other things that are income producing. So your mind is thinking, I'm paying someone and money is leaving. My mind as a CEO is thinking, if I remove that 4 hours off of my plate, I'm going to use that 4 hours. How can I make more money with those 4 hours? I'm going to use to monetize the podcast. I'm going to be thinking about ways to monetize. I'm going to be speaking to sponsors, going to be speaking to collaborators, going to be launching a group program, whatever. But you're using the space that you'd be thinking about for editing to think about monetization. And that you can't delegate. But editing you can delegate. And so what are the things that can be delegated and can't be delegated? That's the conversation.
Yeah.
It's not should I delegate or not. You should. What should you delegate? So you're not going to delegate being the podcast host because this is your zone of genius. This is when you are like, you love this. This you wouldn't delegate. But for example, if you're not a video editor, if it takes you 4 hours to edit a video and it's, let's say, a 6 out of 10, but it takes a video editor 45 minutes to edit a video or maybe 20 minutes to edit the video.
Yeah.
And theirs is a 9 out of 10.
No brainer.
No brainer. No brainer.
I think where a lot of my friends and myself sometimes we think about is you learn all of this theoretical stuff at a university, right? Like buying back your time, I think was taught to me at university as well.
Cool. I studied political science.
Probably through Dan Martell, right? So, but one of the things, it's so easy to say this, but when people have recommended that to me. I've recommended it to people when I used to work corporate who were entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's a different game because you just question everything, which is, I guess, good.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, of course, man. Just delegate. This you're worth $2,000. Okay, this cost you $200. Go for it. Yes, but like at the end of the day, you're like, oh, okay. If I'm going to spend time to figure out how to monetize a business or the podcast, oh crap, it is not monetized though yet. Right?
But that's what you should be focused
on. And I know, but it's this internal conflict. Like you may just look at me sitting in my cafe, just like, working, but in my head, I have a holy war happening, I'm Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. I'm going at it in my head. So what you see is just me sitting working in my head. Royal Rumble, baby. How do you see this with your clients? If so, how do you manage? What advice would you give them in this space?
I think it's more than just, we're talking about delegating. I think it's stepping into a new role as a leader because there's a part in your journey in entrepreneurship at the beginning where you're the operator. It's a flex to wear all the hats, the editor, the script writer, the producer, all of it. We do all of it, everything. That only works to a certain point. So to get to the next level, we have to move away from this mode, which I call operator mode. You're the operator. You just get everything done. That's the beginning of entrepreneurship. At some point, you graduate and you go to this next level where you now become a leader to build a company. And that is the way I encourage my clients to be thinking. It's not, I'm doing it alone anymore. It's, I want to find a team that can do it with me. And I'm not talking about hiring 20, 30 people. Maybe this is a small, mighty team of 1 or 2 people. My team, we're 2.
Even today?
Yeah, like right now I have 2 team members that work with me and then 1 that is like an additional subcontractor that we work based on a few projects on, or 2 or 3 subcontractors. But I'm saying that just to say like, I'm not, and we all work virtually from our house. So it's not like you need this massive office. But again, it's a different way in thinking as your identity as an entrepreneur, where now you said the word delegate. But in my mind, I'm like, could it be learn to delegate, learn to build a team, learn to build a system? We are trying to build a team that can help us build the company. Because if you look at some of the best things that were built, it wasn't only one person. Maybe there was one person front facing, but every great thing was built by a team of people. I learned this in politics. You see the candidate at the end of the night go on stage and take the win, but behind every politician is a massive team that has spent months organizing and putting this campaign together. Businesses are the same. And so I encourage that shift from operator mode to thinking like a leader, and a leader brings people together to build together. That is a better way of scaling because realistically, you can't do everything on your own past a certain point. So you need people to help you do it. I think you're at that stage where it's like, if this is going to kick off, you need different people's eyes and perspectives to give different ideas into your business. Like my EA, she's the opposite of me. That's why she's the perfect fit for my business. She brings a side of the business that I do not bring at all, which is structure, which is organized, which is not me.
Mm.
So that's a perfect asset to my business because when she takes care of all of that, I can clear up my mind to do these
Focus on
sort of things.
your stuff. Yeah.
And build the brand, build the company. So my job as CEO is to bring in money and opportunities.
You're the sales lead. Yeah.
So like,
essentially.
Again, too many CEOs think their role is everything. I'm telling you, I've written out my roles and responsibility for the company, and my main roles are build the team and bring in opportunities and money. That's my role. So my role is not social media calendar. It's not invoicing. It's not leading the team meetings. That's not my role. And that's a big shift because at first in entrepreneurship, it's a flex to wear all of the hats, right? It's like, oh, I do it all. If you want to scale to that next level, you have to take yourself out of that mindset because it's no longer just a one-person show. It becomes a small but mighty team. And you said Diary of a CEO, right? Like, sure, you think that's a one-person show. No, you see the amount of magicians and artists and creative and strategists that are behind what Steve is producing. That's a wise leader. He found people that could complement him, but were aligned on mission and values to scale the business faster than just one person could. And that's why I say it's not just learning how to delegate, it's an identity shift we're talking about. The identity shift from CEO mode to the identity shift from operator mode to CEO mode. It's more about how you think as a leader and how you show up rather than like doing all of the tasks yourself.
Gotcha.
Was that helpful for you?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Because I see not just myself, but I have a lot of friends who have branched out into this entrepreneurship space. And we just discuss these topics on a daily basis where it's like, yeah, you got to wear all hats at the beginning, and you should. I realized,
especially to learn the skill. Yes.
So my idea for the editing side was, and it's not just delegation, but also I need to be able to speak the language
absolutely
well enough before I can delegate it. So if you look at
spot on,
think about it like a reel, simple thing, right? Oh my God, Gazzy, like the psychology that goes behind the creation of every reel is insanity. I didn't know this before I started.
It's a full craft.
And it's the human psychology that's involved is ridiculous because the attention span we spoke about, what's the value you're offering? Okay, and then you got to have a call to action, and then
the hook, the call to action, there's so much to it.
And I'm like, I just want to put shit out rather than like, but at the same point,
you have to learn it. I'm with you.
That's one.
Yep.
Then how do you piece it together? It's two. Is it like, it's got to look professional. And I was speaking to this podcaster, Chris Griffin, and I remember we were just having a chat, and he goes, "Your clips are good, like you're not going to get any success if you just keep it the way they are. You have to learn professional software before you, and that's when things might like it'll do better for sure, but at least look more professional." I was like, "Ew, okay, kind of need to hear that." So, okay, learned that in a weekend. And then since then I've been experimenting, but then I knew I can't do this forever, but I wanted to do it well enough to a point where when I do decide to outsource,
that's it.
I can speak the language. I know what's happening. And that base is strong enough now where I can just level up through whoever I outsource rather than hiring a shitty editor. I can get a good editor who's done a lot of good stuff.
And you also know what is good and what is shit.
So I'm like, okay, did you use this?
That's it.
Okay, I can see it. Okay, and then it's like, oh, okay, you can actually take two reels and overlap. This was told to me the other day, and I was like, okay, that I didn't know.
That's it.
Now I know that. Now there's a difference here.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. But that's why I said there's a certain point. You're at that point.
It's weird because you know where you're at, but you're just trying to decide, when do I pull the plug? When do I, and you're kind of just wavering, you're chilling, you're like in that zone, and you're like, when do I just go, let's go?
That's it.
So,
and listen, the first hire is not going to be the best. You know, hire an editor. They might be good for a first few weeks, and then they'll fall off, and then they'll start producing shit. And then again, that's why I'm saying now your role isn't from editing the videos.
Yeah.
It's coaching and building the team to get them to peak performance so that we're all performing at our peak performance and building a movement that's like actually scalable at this level.
Gotcha. Fascinating. One of the things like in today's society, personal branding is everything.
Yes.
Right?
You read my mind because I wanted to go there with that.
I know. Everything is about personal brand.
Yes.
So and this clicked to me during my time at KPMG, which was I was working for someone doing my own thing, but my identity was always tied to KPMG. Phenomenal, right? Okay, Sach went to Ivy. Great. KPMG. Great. But what are you known for? Prior to that, I was the cricketer. That was my identity. And then this idea of like, okay, I need to go branch out into my own thing has to be what do I want to be known for?
That's it.
And the biggest, the day I realized this was when, the Prime energy drink?
Yeah.
When that sort of started selling like hotcakes, it started outperforming Gatorade.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was like, why? Who owns Prime? Logan Paul, KSI.
Yeah.
Branding.
Yeah.
Anything that they sell, boom, we'll buy it. That's what's happening. So I was like, oh my God, there's this huge paradigm shift occurring right now. Is your Gazzy Amin?
Yep.
Who are you known as? What are you known for? Authentic Gazzy.
That's what you said, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So with personal branding though, I see a lot of businesses and people struggle with this, creating this brand, right? And a lot of times a personal brand is associated with your presence.
Yep.
When you walk into a room, the people just like, okay, just another person, or like, holy whoa, who's that? Oh shit, Authentic Gazzy. That's Gazzy Amin. So that presence piece is something I've been fascinated by. How do you create a presence? Okay, I'll give you a case study.
Okay.
Let's say a middle-aged mum. Okay. Did something of her own, whatever. Now decides, okay, I want to go into entrepreneurship. Decides to go in, but is facing these challenges of like, not knowing how, she's single, as in like she's doing it by herself.
Okay.
Right? Trying to navigate this space, but doesn't necessarily know because her identity at this point is tied to her previous profession.
Yes.
Okay. So she's taking all the learnings from there and trying to implement it here, but it doesn't cross over that well. But what's happening now, let's say, is I'm just making this up right now. But let's say they are at this stagnation point where they're like, I don't know what's going to move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's building that presence. And they have this dilemma of like, I want to create presence when I walk into a room so that I can close deals and sell whatever services I'm offering.
Mm-hmm.
How do you create that presence?
Are you asking on social or physical?
I guess both. I think
both, they tie together,
it has
right?
To be, yeah.
Yeah. So
let's start with physical.
Okay. I think it doesn't start with physical anymore because people are using social media as a legitimizer before they meet someone.
Yeah.
Or even a restaurant or even a dentist clinic. Like, people know about your personal brand even before they meet you because they're going to look you up on the internet. So your personal brand speaks before you do. If I'm going to an event and people are going to hear me speak for their first time, they might have already seen me on social media before. They already made a few assumptions of who I am based on what they see. I mean, just look at how people are making decisions, even for yourself. Anywhere you go, you check their Instagram before you go, whether it's a restaurant, a party, an event, a podcast studio. Before you had this conversation with me, you found me on Instagram. So it's just showing us that people are using Instagram kind of like how sometimes we would use Google, right? To check somewhere to read the reviews before we go. We're using Instagram as a place to go look and say, are his videos crisp enough? Do I like it enough? Do I think he looks good enough? Am I even going to give his podcast a chance? Before they even give the podcast a chance, they're going to use the short form content to see, is it worth my time? And so you're already building your personal brand. So before we meet in person, you already had an idea of what my brand was about. So you're asking me, how do you make a presence in person? Well, first we got to talk about what's the social presence. Because people are going to social presence before they're meeting you in person. Before I've paid anyone, most restaurants I go to, Airbnbs, like spas, everything you're looking up on Instagram before you go. And in an era where we're seeing things like influencer marketing, like employee generated content, EGC, that's a term that corporate brands are now using, where
UGC,
we are,
EGC.
we're creating content to create our brand so people know about us, about who we are before they even come buy from us, come work with us, come pay us. All of this is happening because they're looking at your personal brand and seeing, do I like them? Do I know them? Do I trust them? And if those three are no, then it doesn't matter what your social presence is. I've already made my assumption about who you are using Instagram. It's crazy, right?
It is. It is very true.
So true.
Yeah.
And I always say, it's like, if you look at your Instagram posts, people are making an assumption about who you are based on the 9 posts that they see on Instagram. So if you have 9 crisp pieces of content, I see people meet me in person, they follow me on Instagram, they're like, oh my God, I love your content. They're making an assumption in live time about me, about who they think I am based on my social media feed. It's twisted, but also the reality of the world. And so if we're using human psychology and buyer psychology, we know how important your social media grid and your social media presence and your personal brand is. Even before you speak in person, all of this is happening before somebody meets you.
Gotcha.
I stalked the hell out of you before I met you. I already made my assumptions about you.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what you said today and your presence today. I already had an idea of who I created you to be based on the content I consumed of you. That is the era we live in right now.
Gotcha.
This is how people are making decisions.
And is this something you coach with your clients as well in terms of this? Okay, that's a huge...
Absolutely. Okay. Like, you have to... in fact, I'm just running a challenge right now with a group of women. It's 30 days of posting consistently online because that matters. It matters. Your personal brand, how you show up matters. And you have to be creating a personal brand for yourself. It does not matter what you do for work. I'm not just talking about promoting your business. Okay. People need to know who you are outside of your business.
Yeah, that's something I've been told a lot. Is I think it was speaking to Anthony, who owns over here. He's like, show who you really are on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, dude, I want to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if I'm going to give you if I'm going to listen to your 60-minute podcast, I want to know that you're actually cool before I give you 60 minutes of my most valuable asset, which is my time.
Yeah.
And if I don't know who you are, it's surface level. But it's so interesting. When I meet people in person, they tell me they feel like they know me because of my social presence.
Yeah.
You know my husband's name. Yeah. You've never met him before.
I saw him reading a script.
A script. Most people know my niece and nephew.
Oh,
I'm an aunt to twins.
Okay.
I share the journey online with my niece and nephew. That's who I am outside of work. I share those things. And so when people want to pay me, they feel like they know who I am. Or when they want to invite me to something, they feel like they know who I am because I show authentically who I am. Like I spoke on a stage once and my pants ripped and I told everybody and I posted about it on social media.
Yeah.
And that got so much engagement. And I was on a sales call with a corporate client and they saw that and they were like, we loved that you shared that on social media. And I was like, oh my God, they saw that? So again, people want that authenticity. And in a world with social media, I know you're thinking well, what am I going to show? We're trying to show this perfect version of ourselves. People want to see the real you.
It's like dating.
Yeah, they want to see the real you, especially if I'm, again, going to listen to your podcast, pay you, come to your restaurant. If you're a business, I want to know who you actually are. I want to know. I want to see, do our values align?
Yeah.
Do we do the same fun things on the weekend? Do you love spas as much as I love spas? I want to connect with people. Touch points, exactly. Building rapport. Again, people are paying people that they know, like, and trust. And so if I'm coming to your Instagram or your personal brand, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever, and I'm seeing what is not you, you reading off of a script, you always, I always tell women, like, don't only put your headshots, don't only put your professional pictures, show you in pajamas, show you with your kids. That's who you really
Even
are.
on LinkedIn?
Yeah. People are craving that authenticity, especially on LinkedIn, where people are thinking that's more of a corporate work thing.
Yeah.
That's more of like a resume, more of a job finding place. The more vulnerable you are, then you stand out in the sea of non-vulnerability. When people are posting, I'm excited to announce that I've just started this role at this company. Then you see someone saying, you know what? My child had a meltdown in the grocery store the other day. Here's what that lesson taught me as a leader. Now I'm like, oh, he's a dad. I trust him more.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he knows how to regulate his son's nervous system. We vibe with each other. That's a touch point of rapport there. So again, in a world where people are AI, where things are becoming less authentic, when you are more of yourself, that shit works. People appreciate it's refreshing to see, oh, that's who you truly are. You're not just hiding behind whatever it is you're hiding behind. It's so refreshing. Even I appreciate seeing that. When I see content, I'm like, oh, I feel like that's a real version of someone. And I know the moment I see it, when it's not, I'm like, that's a facade of who they want the world to think they are, but that's not their real brand. And so the brands that are winning in 2025 and 2026, who are showing the founder, it's founder-led, and who are really showing the authenticity and the journey behind it. I've seen so many people do like series on social media, like building my business in public. I have a goal to monetize this podcast in 100 days. Here's day one of it. Showing those behind the scene journeys. People aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for relatable.
Yeah.
Those relatable touch points.
Yeah.
And that's the content that's performing well. And those are the personal brands that are really building community and connection.
It's funny. I started like a 90-day challenge of like, 10,000 followers in 90 days. But at one point, I think I got to day 18 and I stopped it on purpose because of the algorithm. Because one of my friends is in social media market, like he has his own agency. And as a podcaster, you want to be known for your podcasting. So if you want to show your behind the scenes and stuff, it needs to be podcast related to an extent, right? Now, what started happening was there's only so much you could do every single day that's different from the previous day, right? Sometimes you're stuck in that routine and you just have to do it. Now, if I'm filming every day, posting every day, doing the whole thing, great. But then I'm editing the podcast and doing all of that as well. It got too much. But at the same time, what he told me was fascinating. This is just algorithm related.
I want to know.
You can't chase let's say you're chasing two rabbits. You can't chase them both at once. You have to pick one direction. Because that's what was happening with the algorithm was, one day it's reels, podcast clips, reels. Like every single day there was this day in the life. And then you're kind of just playing this weird game where the algorithm's stagnating because it doesn't know which direction to pull. So I was like, I never thought of it that way. Because what was happening was with the 10K, people were enjoying it. My followers were enjoying it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bringing in new followers. Now I was like, is there a reason why that's not the case? And I tried a lot of things.
Maybe you would just show it differently.
Exactly. So my friend just goes, hey, it's a great idea. Let's execute it in a different way.
Yep, that's it.
So focus predominantly on podcast clips, reels. Now that you have an editor potentially, there you go. With all these day in the life, you could do that yourself. Okay. How about a week in the life? Rather than doing a day in the life.
Yeah.
Show it at the end of every week or like a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And then every now and then chuck in a day.
Yeah.
Show what the behind the scenes of a podcast looks like. Okay, your trials and tribulations that you're going through. It doesn't have to be posted every single day.
That's right.
Every other day.
Yeah.
Because what happens then, you're skewing the algorithm in a particular direction now. You're chasing that one rabbit and that's it, which is you are a podcaster. Hence, Satch the podcaster.
Yeah.
Then I was like, now I get it.
Yeah, I think
But I
there's
didn't get
also
it
different
initially.
uses for Instagram,
Yeah.
right? So reels are used for reach. That's
Yes.
finding your audience. And so that should be specific to do with your brand and what you want to be known for, versus stories on Instagram is more used to build community and show day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's where I show more of the behind the scenes and the
And
day-to-day.
that's a lot easier to do.
It's a lot easier.
lot
Exactly
easier
why
to
I
do.
chose it, because
Okay.
I don't edit that content. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I took a video right outside before coming in. I took one video. That's going to be my story for I'm here to meet you for a podcast today. That's the behind the scenes of today.
Gotcha.
So it's not as curated. It's more organic and authentic Gazzy, just showing as is. And that's where, like you said, your followers like that. So that's where people are DMing back. That's where we're building trust and deeper conversations. But that's what stories are used for. Stories are used for interactions, reply, and community building, versus reels are for reach, meeting new people that don't maybe already follow you.
That
so to
makes
grow the
sense.
page and the algorithm, you want to focus on reels. But to grow your brand and to grow like the behind the scenes and the community and the day-to-day, that's where stories are happening, where you can say, hey, like, I'm doing this with Gazzy. Like, what do you think about this? Should I wear this outfit? Should I wear that outfit? Oh my God, this happened. I was late. Like, I'm in the Uber. Like, I'm fucking late to meet Gazzy right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the authentic behind the scene. I wouldn't put that on grid. Again, the grid is if they look at the first 9 things, do they know who you are and what you do? That's where I would keep the crisp podcast clips. But the stories is where I would show the fun every day behind the scenes, who you are, what you eat, what you do, who you hang out with, the places you love going, the stores you love shopping at. Like, that's where I'm connected to you as the brand, versus the feed is where I'm learning about the podcast.
Gotcha.
2 different uses.
That's fascinating, because I think this is where I got very confused, which was, the 10K followers, 90 days. Yeah, sure. But then it's conflicting with what I'm actually trying to do. So at that point, if you saw my grid, it was, you'll see podcast reels, 10K follower clip, like that kind of thing. And it's just like, ew, what's happening here? Like, why do you want these followers, right? And a lot of people I heard from feedback-wise is that's your goal? Like,
I think it's also surface, to be honest. Like, again, going in the founder era, we're talking about marketing predictions and like marketing in 2025, 2026. Followers don't mean shit, because I have people who have way more followers than I do that come pay me to learn how to monetize the platform. I have about 4,000 followers. Been running this business for about 5 years. Instagram is mostly my lead gen for opportunities and clients. And so I always tell people it's really not a matter of followers, but it's the quality of followers. So again,
organic.
I don't want 10,000 followers of people who are not there for the right reasons to watch the podcast, let's say, or to inquire about my business, to work with me, to find female founders, to find events, community. Like, that's what I want to be known for. So I'm being very clear, again, telling the algorithm, find people who want this, but in stories, that's where you get to be yourself. So Instagram has these different tools and it wants you to use it differently.
I gotcha. So if you want to grow a following naturally, organically, focus on your craft, which in, let's say, my case, it's the podcast.
That's where you want to niche in, right? They use that word. Like, what do you want to be known for? The pillars.
The podcaster, right? And then in order to grow your personal brand, okay, that does play a part, but it's more so your stories, the authenticity that you show behind the scenes of what you do daily.
That's it. Like yesterday, I hosted a masterclass. On behind the scenes, I posted pictures of my team, how we were prepping, what was going on. I posted Ali trying to get him. Like that. I wouldn't post that on feed. Feed is more Feed is my portfolio. It's like my website.
Okay.
It's the first thing people are using to make an assumption about me. So I'm not going to put myself in PJs or on a walk or without makeup per se on the feed.
Yeah.
Or like with my niece and nephew, I'm not posting our play date there because it's really not anything to do with my business. But if you care to know who I am as a human, that's where you follow. Stories expire after 24 hours.
Yeah.
They did that intentionally. It's what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Gotcha.
They are removing it because they don't want you to overthink it the way we overthink the feed, which is it is there.
Yeah.
Stories
that's
are
what
fun,
makes sense.
easy.
I get a lot of engagement. I think I tried something new when I was flying back from Dubai to Toronto. I posted a story and stuff of how while that journey was and stuff.
Yes.
And it was just like text on screen.
That's it.
And the engagement I got from it, like the messages, I was like, wait a second.
Don't sleep on stories.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
for me, most speaking opportunities, clients, buying conversations happen through stories in the DMs. Most book calls, people tapping on things in the DM on stories and then me following up in the DM, like gold mine of money, especially
It's a
things
gold
like now,
mine,
like many chats. So you could see more
Yeah.
like marketing is moving in the direction of monetizing stories and DMs and engagement for growth of business. So
Gotcha.
as an entrepreneur, you want to be thinking about that. Like that's where most of my sales and invitations and tickets for things, that's where it's really coming from.
Yeah. The physical aspect of it,
Yep.
presence, is something I'm fascinated because when I met you, I felt this energy, right? And this just super jolly and like strong body language. So when you walk into a room, my assumption is there's a presence. People feel a presence, whether that's through energy, how you see fit, how you speak.
Totally.
Is your voice articulate? Are you loud enough to an extent?
Yes.
If someone's pivoting a career, and okay, now we've sort of understood, okay, now we got to grow the social media. How do you create presence in a room?
I think first I would look at people that you admire their presence and ask, what is it about their presence that I'm attracted to?
Yeah.
And then how can I also omit that energy? So there have been women that I've seen when they walk in the room, you feel it. And it's not through the voice. It's through, again, that body language, the energy. It's like I always say, like, energy speaks before you do. So that body language, and I've seen it in some of the women that I've encountered, or actually a lot of them. And when I see women go on stage or walk into meetings or even women I meet along my journey, I'm like, I loved that about them. What was it about them that I loved? Because again, I'm in the business of building this new identity. I talked to you. It's an identity shift, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going into this new space, it's like, oh, who do I want to be? I want to be someone who's warm and welcoming. I like to be fun. I wear purple glasses. Like if you're watching the video, you know, like my glasses change color based on the way you see them. I like to be approachable. Like I wear bright colors. I love jewelry. I've noticed that in other people and I'm like, wow, I love how that lady is just like wearing color. She's not afraid to like show up in her unique style. I love that, this lady shook my hand in a certain way or made eye contact with me. And it really made me feel seen and heard. And so I see it in different examples, which is, I always say, like, study the people you want to become and see what is it in them that they have. And then how can I embody that, whether it's through my fashion, through my voice, through my hugs, through my handshakes. Like, how can I omit that through my energy?
Just free yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And so I've seen it in other people and it's allowed me to be more of myself. I'm not becoming someone who I'm not. I think it's more permission to be like, I was taught to be like quieter. I'm a loud person. You told me like I walk in and I have a bit of a presence. When you work in politics, like you take up no space. You wear black. You're in the back, like the lights on the politician. And so going into this space, I had to allow myself to be like, it's safe for me to take up space, like rock it, girl. Like it's okay for you to show up and take up space. But I saw it in other women and or even men, if other entrepreneurs and been like, I want to omit that. Like I remember seeing, Julie Black speak, Arlene Dickinson speak, even some of my colleagues, my friend Zaina, like there's something about when she speaks that I love. My friend Sarah, her confidence in herself, like I learned from all of the people around me. And there's certain things about their energy that I felt like that feels good. And then I asked myself, how can I bring that into who I am being today? And it's learning as we go. So that's what I would say. Find other people that have characteristics that make you feel good and then try and experience that through embodiment.
Do you know Matt Campoli?
I do know Matt. Yeah.
So Matt, when he was on the podcast,
Yes.
a phenomenal podcast. Like I'm
Cool dude.
doing my best to get it as much exposure as I can.
Yes.
Now, but he spoke about like the fact that, and Ernesto actually as well, that your life is like you build yourself up, but in a way where it's like you're in a video game and
Yeah.
you're picking and choosing your characters.
Totally.
So if
You
have
decide.
if you have this Mount Rushmore of people you look up to, you can embody I like, let's say, Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
Okay, bit of Stephen Bartlett.
That's it.
Okay, a cricketer. Okay, there you go.
That's it.
Ooh, okay, Chris Williamson maybe. Okay, there you go. And then, anyone else, Authentic Gazzy, boom. Okay. So you're an amalgamation of characters.
Absolutely.
So, one of the questions is, let's say someone is soft-spoken.
Yes.
Right? But wants to create that presence.
Mm.
And I say this because I've seen a lot of people who want to do things, but when they're put in let's say the ring of fire, all of a sudden it's like, not too sure. And it's a huge pain point for a lot of people who are very soft-spoken but want to create that presence. Okay, I've picked and chosen who I kind of want to be, but I'm soft-spoken.
Yeah.
I speak like this.
Yeah.
I don't have a, crazy. I'm more attuned to ASMR for reels, right? Rather than having a good, solid foundation to go ahead and speak. How would you tackle, how do you coach that aspect?
The first thing is I would remove the belief that being soft-spoken doesn't mean you're an effective communicator. Because you can be a loud communicator, but you're still not an effective communicator. And so I've seen, even in sales, people think, because I'm outgoing, I must be good in sales. Some of the best sales reps I've worked and trained have been introverts, I'm air quoting, like they would call themselves, let's say. Or some of my clients been like scared of public speaking because, their softer tone has nothing to do with it. Being an effective communicator is a skill that you can learn, right? Like skating, like cricket, like you learn these skills.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it has to do with the softness of a voice or the loudness. Tonality does play a role in public speaking, but to be an effective communicator, I've heard some, let's say, quiet people speak, and when they speak, they command the room. And I'm not even saying a stage. Maybe it's a boardroom.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a one-on-one meeting. Again, I'm naturally a louder toned person, but some of the most powerful times I speak is actually when I lower my tone. Even that softness, maybe it's getting you to think about it a little bit deeper.
And the pauses.
The pauses. Yeah. So you can see it has nothing to do with loud, because I could be loud and talk like this and it's absolutely doing nothing, but I look confident and I'm saying a lot of things, but no one's really hearing it. So I think to be an effective communicator, you just have to be open to the skill. Like I've been learning, I've hired people to teach me how to speak in public. I've hired people to review recordings of me speaking at masterclasses on stages to tell me what I could do better. And so it's not an idea of like, am I good at it or am I not? Am I willing to learn or am I not willing to learn?
I guess there's an element of pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, especially if, let's say, you're soft-spoken and sometimes a lot of people really don't have that self-belief and underestimate themselves. But what I've noticed, and this is just an observation from my very limited amount of episodes that I've done, is a lot of like folks who are really, really high up. I'm so sorry, but they're full of shit. Like you look at no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But because people have these, posts or status associated with them, we make it out to be like, oh my God, he or she or they are the CEO of this company. Yeah. They know everything. Yeah. But they don't understand that, they have these regular problems like I do or like you do. But you put him on a pedestal thinking, oh no, if he's Bill Gates, holy, like or Jeff Bezos or whoever it could be, oh my God. But what I'm realizing is you have to, at whatever level you are, you can make it big, but that self-belief cannot be, like it can't go unwavered. Like you have to have that self-belief. If you have that, it will work. But it's just about coaching that self-belief becomes that's the one ingredient you can't have. You can have, as an entrepreneur, you can have no money, you can have no resources, you can have no network. Yeah.
You can have all of those things, but you could still figure it out. They're not mandatory ingredients, but self-belief is the mandatory ingredient.
How much of that do you coach with your clients? And
it's the foundation of everything.
It's the foundation.
Because how can we build a strategy if there's no self-belief?
What are 3 ways?
How can we give social media strategy if you don't have confidence in yourself to show your face on camera.
Yeah.
So your beliefs about yourself and your mindset and all of those things, it's foundational. We can't build from a shaky ground. And with no self-belief, we're building on sand. That's not a strong recipe.
What are the best ways to build self-belief that have worked for you potentially?
For me, working on identity was huge. I read a book called Psycho-Cybernetic by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He talks about a concept called self-image, which is what you think about yourself. And so as an entrepreneur, that's really important. So working on your identity, I told you so much of this work is identity shifting. It's personal development. So self-image work for me was one of those integral things when I understood I don't see myself in the right way. Like, I don't see myself as a CEO. I talk bad about myself. I shame my body. I don't love the skin that I'm in. So if you don't come from a strong self-image, you can't build. That was the first thing that really helped me. And the second thing is get into groups with other people who have self-belief that you could borrow from as you're building your self-belief. That's why people come work with me, because I have so much belief that even if they don't fully believe in their vision, I'm like, trust me, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
Believe in me. You could borrow my belief until your belief catches up. So read about mindset, personal development, self-image work. I would highly recommend Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. But personal development around identity work, that's key. And then the second thing is like that community of people who have so much self-belief that they can mirror it for you. And you're like, damn, if Gazzy could do that and she took that risk, that's making me feel a little bit better about the risk. Or she took the risk and she didn't fall. Okay, maybe that's good motivation for me as well. So, that saying who you surround yourself, like the 5 people you surround yourself, you become. If you surround yourself with people who have no belief, you're also that. The people around me, they believe in themselves. I intentionally put myself in masterminds, communities, environments, settings where it is with people who have high regard, who go for big goals, because I know that that energy is contagious and I want to be with them.
Yeah, there's this crazy quote that really made me take that leap of faith, which was, most people die at the age of 22, but get buried at the age of 77. And the moment I heard that, I was like, that was like a mic drop moment. And I was like,
it won't be
okay,
me.
Nope.
Yeah.
And that's when I think also realized, and kudos to Cricket as well for teaching me this. You got to be, if you want to be a high performer, you got to be with high performers.
Yeah.
You have to borrow and feed off their energy because you learn so much.
Totally.
And that's why putting yourself in those environments has done me a lot of good. And that's like the number one thing. Okay, how can I become a little bit more uncomfortable, but also put myself in, like, I sometimes feel like I'm the most stupid person, You're
in the right rooms. That's how we know.
And then you just go and you're like, whoa. And I spoke to Mehreen Munir, who was my previous guest, and she mentioned, like, if you're having a conversation and you've spoken for the majority of the time, you're the one who hasn't learned anything. And that's one of the most useless chats that you could have had.
That's absolutely right.
And I was like, So the way to tell is if someone is very, smart, articulate, and knows what they're doing, is just understand when they speak, how they speak, what they speak about. And then you can just pick and choose, like, oh, that's of substance, that's of value, versus this person who's just absolutely ranting and going off. That's more of attention seeking. And it tells you if they'll be a good addition to a team potentially at some point.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
They want to just yap about anything.
That's it.
Imagine how they'd be if you work with them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I pay to be in the rooms, and sometimes I don't even ask too many questions. I'm just there. I'm just soaking it all in.
Yeah.
Soaking it all. I'm listening. I'm watching. I'm learning. I'm taking notes. What did they say that pissed me off? What did they say? Oh, I didn't know that before. Oh, algorithm this. Like, I'm always soaking it up. And like you said, I always want to feel like I am the dumbest in the room. Dumbest and smartest. So like, I know I have value to bring, but at the same time, I shut up. There's once an expression I heard, that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more than you speak. Right? So when I'm in environments, I'm always like, That's why universe gave me 2 ears and a mouth so I can listen more than I speak. That's my purpose. I'm here to soak up all of this information. And especially in sales, that's one of the top things we teach people, right? Talk less, listen more. That's how you close deals.
And I think it's curiosity is what's going to drive that listen more, speak less, right?
Yeah. Versus the I know it all already, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, good for you. Go be the know-it-all. I don't care about you. But something I've always thought about is, oftentimes life is about the decisions that we don't make rather than the ones that we do. Or life is shaped by the decisions that we don't make rather than the ones we do. So if you're not a sales consultant, queen and going out and killing, what was your plan B or plan C?
I had none. This was only it. When I decided to do this, I knew that this would be the mission for the rest of my life. I'm going to do this till I die. There is no plan. There's no other plan other than this.
All eggs in one basket.
This is what I love to do. I know that this is what I meant to do.
In an alternative universe, what would your plan B have been?
In an alternative universe, I would be something completely different. I always imagine myself no technology, near the water with lots of animals.
Huh.
Yeah.
And do what?
Like, I don't know, but that's where travel always opened my eye because there's so much to do. Like, I'm like, my husband and I were like, should we become farmers for a few months? Like, would that be fun to just like, we never thought we would do that, but should we try it? Like, should we just try and do that? But as of right now, I don't know what else I would be because this is the only thing I want to do. This is this is what wakes me up in the morning. This is what keeps me up at night. This is it. I can't even think of an alternative universe because this is the only reality I'm in right now, and I'm so in it. I'm happy to say that though, because there was a time where I would be like, who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? And now I just feel like pretty grounded in where I am. Like, this feels right. Like this, I found it now.
Are you content with yourself now?
Yeah, I think so. I think as humans, we were talking about this before we started recording the podcast, we're so critical of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so when someone asks that question, like, are you content with yourself? It's like, yeah, I love myself exactly how I am. But I also know that I have way more potential to tap into. And so am I fully content here? I'm content with it here now, but I know that there's more. And so I'm eager to be more and do more and learn more about myself. So I wouldn't be content to stay at this level of awareness forever. I'm just content with it for now. But every day our awareness expands. And so tomorrow I'll also be content. But I'll always know that there's still more. And at that level, I'll still be content.
What's next for you? What's next for Authentic Gazzy?
Okay, so some big plans. Well, first, I run an event series called the Female Founders Feast. It's a 4-hour private chef experience where women come to mastermind business. I'd love to kick that off in a way bigger way. I've hosted it 2 times for 20 women now, and I just see there's so much there. So I'd love to see that become its own thing in 2026. And I have some really exciting plans with some of my clients and things we're working on. I think in 2026, there's going to be more things outside of where I am. I'm, Toronto, Vaughan area. I'm going to be doing things across Canada with a few clients. 2 of my clients will be hosting events in Dubai, so I'll be there. So it's interesting because...
When are you going to Dubai?
Well, a few times.
Oh, okay.
A few times, maybe February being one of the first, and then a few times throughout the year, depending on where opportunities take me and where I'm guided to go. But I see the next little bit being a bigger team, more travel, and more impact.
Wow. Gazzy, this has been awesome.
Thank
I've really
you.
enjoyed this. And I think the energy you bring with all, obviously, the theory and like everything that goes behind like creating a business and sales and stuff, I think you're an example of how you can resurrect a life and give yourself a new identity from that was attached to a previous life. And I just hope that listeners see and hear that and understand like, oh shit, nah, it is possible.
Yeah.
And with like the conviction you spoke with everything that we discussed, it's like you've truly lived it. And it's not just some BS of like, okay, here's what I've taught. This is what I'm giving you. It's more like, no, I've experienced it. I'm giving it. So I really appreciate the transparency and just
Thank you.
for you to,
Yeah.
during a weekday.
Yeah,
It was
that's it.
give.
This is the entrepreneurship journey, the ups,
Yeah.
downs, everything in the middle. And, as you said that of like, I created a new life. I'm like, I wonder if in a few years, I'd have a completely new life again.
Could be.
I tell you now I'm pretty committed to what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
if you had asked me when I was in politics, I thought I was going to do that forever too. And then I allowed a shift. So for anyone who's listening, just let it be a reminder that like you can start again at any time that you want and build whatever it is you desire, and that can change, and that's okay. And I'm excited to see where it grows. And if for anyone who's listened to this conversation and really enjoyed it, I always say like connect with me on Instagram at Authentic Gazzy. That's where we can connect a little bit further and hear what really stood out for them from this podcast.
Yeah. And that's what they say, right? Like in this world, people are like, oh, you got to find your passion, your purpose and this. Truth is, mate, your purpose evolves over time.
Because we evolve over time, right?
Exactly. Your interests might change. I'm doing the podcast now. Hopefully I keep, this is what I want to really, really.
But this might be one of the things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think, I know we're wrapping up, but this is just like coming to my mind of like,
go for it.
Of course, we pivot careers because we expand as humans. So the more awareness we have, the more awareness we have of what is possible. So it wasn't until COVID that people realized we could work from home. So that awareness opened a whole new realm of opportunities for work. As you travel, it opens up a whole new realm. As you get a new like level, you realize a whole new thing that opens up a whole new thing. So even this idea of like finding purpose, like purpose can expand and possibilities expand when you expand in awareness and thinking and experiences. So to think one thing is just so limiting. Like, even though I told you I'll do this forever, this will look
very different. Yeah.
Yeah, it will. But I know my mission and I know what I'm here for. But I'm also like, hey, I'm only going to be on this earth once. Like, that's why I allow myself to do so many things. Now I'm learning how to dance. That's a new thing I'm doing. You know me, I'm a Thai massage therapist. I've studied yoga, like became a yoga teacher. One life. I'm not going to not try the stuff that I want. And so career or not, like allowing ourselves to just expand as humans. Yes, it expands the business, but hey, like one time on earth, I'm trying to take full advantage of this experience.
Yeah. I have the best quote to wrap it up.
Tell me.
Do you know Naval Ravikant?
No.
So Naval Ravikant is a Silicon Valley investor.
Okay.
He moved from India to the US when he was, I think, 8 or 9.
Okay.
Absolute genius when it comes to the startup VC space. Had a few companies, sold them, now he's in VC and stuff. But he studied happiness and success a lot from a philosophical lens.
Yes.
And I'll ping you one of the episodes I watched. Mind blowing.
Yes.
But he's so like logical. But one of his best quotes from Naval Ravikant is, "You only live once. Why settle for mediocrity?"
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take that leap of faith. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You fuck up? Yeah. Well, good for you, man. You learn.
Yeah, that's it.
But if you want to lead an average life, fair enough. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But don't look back in 10 years and be like, I wish.
I should have, could have.
Jeff Bezos termed it the regret minimization framework.
Yes.
Which is like, if you look at it 10 years from now, and I've spoken about this a lot, I've been very vocal. 10 years from now, if you think, let's say you're starting a business or you want to do something, picture yourself 10 years from now.
Yes.
Are you going to regret it if you don't do it? If the answer is yes, just go for it. If not, if it doesn't move the needle, I'm okay.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to carry that one with me.
Yeah.
Because it just like anchors in, right?
Every decision I make now, it's and it gives you that solace of like, okay, I've thought this through, but I've also envisioned what it's going to look like. And if it moves the needle, I'm not going to think anymore. I'm just going to execute. So I was like, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gazzy?
Appreciate it. Well, look, when you don't settle for mediocrity and you really go like for big goals, you meet like-minded people. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that our like-mindedness
Yeah.
brought us to this
No,
conversation. It was
likewise.
awesome.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Gazzy.
Thanks. I hope to do it again soon.
Likewise. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Gazzy Amin. Hey, you. Awesome job for getting to the end of the show. It really means the world when people actually get to the end of an episode because there's so much to learn, right? And I hope you have. If you have, chuck it in the comments below what you've learned, what you found interesting, controversial. Love to engage with the audience. And if you are listening to this on Spotify, feel free to drop us a 5-star rating because, at the end of the day, that's what's going to drive traction for us. But, if you don't, that's okay. No problem. And if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. There you go. Keeping it raw and authentic here right now. Do all of that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next episode.